Hello, everyone, and welcome again to Big Man, Big Problems podcast. My name is Julio, and I'm here today with a very special guest. She is my emotional support Boricua, Ivette, the world's greatest realtor. She actually showed me my house. She sold my daughter her house, which is fantastic. So if you guys have been following the podcast, and some of you have, thank God, you've noticed I talk a lot about myself. Mostly, I talked a little bit about being on a TV show. And since it's been on the interwebs or whatever you want to call it for a little while, we've gotten some emails, we've gotten some messages, and I thought that today in particular would be a really good day to maybe answer a few of those. Now, I have not heard any of these questions or comments or whatever they are. I haven't heard any of them. So I thought a vet would be great to maybe read off a few to me, and I'll just respond to them live, and we'll see how that goes. So, with no further ado, Vet, maybe you'd like to say hello to the audience.
Hi, everybody. How you doing? Excited to be here.
The excitement's just spewing from him. So how would you like to start it, Vet? What would you like to?
I'm going to start with question number one. Exercise and overall health. What does that look like for you? Exercise and overall health. Is it working out?
Exercise,
Is it specific?
exercise, and overall health. That's a really interesting question. That's one of the hardest things I think for people of a certain size, my size.
Mhm.
That's a really hard thing to do, and it's hard on several different levels. So, number one, what you wouldn't assume that somebody my size knows a lot about exercise, but you'd be surprised.
I was okay. That's
We now it's unfair for me to answer that because again, I've been on the TV show, right? So I've done a level of exercise that a lot of people would not have done.
Yep.
I have people that I can call and talk to, like Tony, that I did on my second episode,
right.
who will more than happily bring me into their gym and make an example of me and just take me under their wing and do everything they can. Uh, and currently for me, because of my current medical issue, exercise is enormously difficult. So when it comes to just exercise,
Yeah.
I think the best advice or the best comment I can give everybody is to say, all you really need to do, step one, is get up and go do something.
Woo.
Now, that could be taking a walk around the block. That could be taking a walk around the house. That could be taking a walk upstairs. There is an enormous amount of videos here. If you just Google, before I started this, one of the things that made me start this is I Googled people with weight issues, right? And when I said weight issues, I meant my issues, which were emotional and mental. I didn't mean like I have a weight problem, I need to fix it. There was nothing for me to go into. There was nothing for me to venture into of how do I deal with this emotionally. But there was 1,000 websites of people who are willing to give me their opinion on how to lose weight, how to go on a diet, what exercise you do. There was a guy who said I could be thin in 60 days. I didn't quite believe it. Well,
Like, wait, what?
well, it's a big thing in the world, right? It's a big thing to get people to go. But what is the right thing to do? There is no, in my opinion. Now, I say this as not being a personal trainer. I say this as a guy who's been big most of his adult life. And also what my doctor just told me.
Okay.
You want to get out and you want to just move. And you want to move for probably 20 minutes a day.
Yes.
And you want to do what's comfortable for you. And don't buy into what every cousin, what every parent, what every grandparent, what every spouse, what every child, what every niece and nephew tell you, what every friend at work go to tell you that you have to do this thing. I mean, obviously, there's going to be different things for people at different ages. There's going to be different things for people at different mobility levels, but you're going to want to get up and do something, right? Now,
Right.
that could be just taking a barbell, a light one above your head for a while.
Right.
That could be doing push ups on the stairs. That could be, again, walking on a treadmill by the TV or whatever the case may be, walking to lunch instead of driving there, right?
Right.
I mean, there's so many different things you can do. The point is making the decision to do something. And I'm not going to sit here and say, make that decision so that you could lose weight.
Right.
Because there is a big argument whether or not exercise is an effective form of weight loss because it takes a lot to burn 400 calories.
True. And
It doesn't take a,
they say you can't, what is it? You can't out eat a good, or you can't out exercise a bad diet. Like if you're not doing, it's a combo, right? You got to eat the right things and you got to do the right things.
100%. I had a sports doctor told me once, and he said, the only way to really lose weight is diet, right? It's a calorie intake deficit situation. But if I can take the effects of exercise
Mhm.
and bottle that and put it into some sort of pill form that I can give you as a dose, there is nothing better for your actual health. And it's not only good for your actual health, your physical health, it's good for your gut health.
Amen.
It's good for your mental health. It's good for your anxiety. It's good for so many things, right?
Yeah.
So whatever you got to do to get up and get moving, and I'm not talking you got to run a marathon.
Oh,
I'm talking you got to get up and you got to just do something for 20 minutes a day. And trust me, you'll feel better when it's all done.
true. Well, what do you like to do? I mean, do you like to go to the gym? Do you like to walk? Do you like to do things at home? Let's start with that.
So I've never liked running.
Okay.
I've run a lot in my life, and
A lot.
I've never liked running. Walking, I suppose, is okay,
Yeah.
but for the last 10 years, I haven't been able to walk much, which has bothered me quite a bit. But hopefully, I'll get there soon because walking is social.
Absolutely.
You talk when you walk.
whole
You
lot.
look
Yep.
at things when you walk. You notice the neighbors. You notice the neighborhood. You notice the trees.
Yep. Nature.
Yeah, it's pleasant to walk. But I've always been a big fan of bike riding,
Yes.
and I've always been a big fan of swimming. Fat people never feel lighter than when they're in a pool. It's fantastic. And by the way, you should all know fat floats, right? So you're not going to drown.
Hashtag that.
I jump in the pool, I put my arms and my hands out, and I float straight to the top. My trainer, Tony, the man's solid muscle. He jumps in, he sinks like a rock, which is fantastic. So I think I could beat him in a swimming race,
Hey.
depending on the distance, because endurance wise, he probably
Right.
has. Yeah.
A short spread, you got them.
But there's so much you could do in a pool, but not everybody has access to a pool, but
Sure.
everybody has access to a bike, right? And it's not just a bike, a recumbent bike or something that moves your legs. And if you're older, weight training is certainly a great thing to do. And weight training doesn't mean bodybuilding,
No.
right? Weight training means a couple of dumbbells and curls, some lifts above your head, squats. One thing all big people have in common,
Yes.
I surprised my brother with this years ago, is how much strength you have on your legs. And he asked me one day, he goes, why are your legs so strong? I go, because I've been carrying this big ass body around for decades. My legs are strong. So your legs are strong.
Yeah.
You just got to get up and use them.
Yeah. It takes a lot to carry all this.
Yes, it does.
So yeah, excellent. Thank you for that. How about nutrition? Nutrition. Do you have a relationship or a guideline for nutrition or what you eat, what you like to eat, anything you avoid?
Well,
Wow.
so nutrition. So let's not kid ourselves out there in big person land. Okay. We all have a incredibly unhealthy relationship to food. And that relationship to food is incredibly emotional. Um, that's might make me a little sad to actually talk about, but
You can skip it.
you know, you're so kind. Why are you so kind? The idea here is we're hitting the hard hitting questions, right? We're getting in there. We're getting in there. We're going to answer these questions because, you know, you're out there and, you know, going on a diet, like what's hard about going on a diet, right? Going on a diet means that they stole your teddy bear, right?
Yeah,
They
probably milk.
stole,
That's what I can't have.
they stole your pacifier. What did you call a pacifier growing
A
up?
bobo.
A what?
Bobo.
A bobo?
Bobo.
Oh, we called it a tete.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we never called it a pacifier.
Yeah.
My mother always called it a tete, so that's what we called it.
Oh.
Yvette and I are Caribbean Latino, right? So she's Puerto Rican, I'm Cuban, which makes me way better than her.
That's what it is.
I don't know that they teach that in Puerto Rico school, but yeah, that's the truth of it.
That is a myth.
But the relationship, the relationship with food is highly emotional. Like when you feel bad, what do you want to do? You want to eat. You want to eat. Yeah. Forget comfort food. It's just food.
Just food.
Yeah. When you feel sad, what do you want to do? You want to eat, right? When you're angry, when you're frustrated, when you're happy, every emotion evokes a want to eat. So you go on a diet, and what happens? They want to take away the food, right? They want to take, but and then they want to give you what my daughters call sad food. Okay. They want to give you things that don't fill that void, right? They want to take away the bread. They want to take away, in our world, white rice. They want to take away white rice. They want to take away the potato, right? Yeah. They want to take all those things away. And I think that's the thing that a lot of nutritionists and doctors and weight loss coaches, funny story, when I was training after the TV show, Tony, who is, God bless him, comes from a West Iowa farm family, looked at me and said, what's the one food you miss the most? And I said, God's honest truth, steamed white rice. He goes, what? I go, yeah, steamed white rice. Yep. I miss that more than anything. He's like, why? I go, because my whole life, that's what I ate. Right. So if you want to talk about comfort to me is steamed white rice, So what do? You find ways to limit the intake of certain things, right? The number one killer is what? Carbs, right? The number one positive is going to be proteins and vegetables. So what I always try to tell people is give yourself some grace in what you do. Everyone, when they go on diets, tries to go cold turkey, hardcore. Okay. You can limit things. You can add little things. You can find things that fill that void just a little bit to get you over the hump. So nutritionally for me, what I try to do is limit myself on the bad things as much as possible, right? Here, it's so easy to go through a drive-through and get a couple of just get a couple of cheeseburgers, a couple of McChickens. You want to hear a funny fact? Yeah. So, one thing here, think about this in your life. Think about the one real big person you know. How often do you actually see a meet?
As much as anyone else.
But nothing extraordinary, right? Like you don't
24/7 food fest.
I mean, you don't see them sitting at their desk at work. You don't see them sitting at home and they got this massive bowl of pasta or they got 6 cheeseburgers or whatever. Because they eat on sneak.
Oh.
They're doing it in the car on the way home from work. They're doing it in odd times. Yeah.
Interesting. So from a quantity perspective, it's like, no, I see them eat when I see everybody else.
Right. So so what are the bad things, right? Fast food. Right. That's an easy one. Can you knock out fast food? If you knock out fast food, boom, you just took a big negative off your plate. Can you knock out fried foods? Took a big negative off your plate. Can you knock out some snack foods that are just terrible, like potato chips, right? I mean, are you better off with some guac and chips or are you better off with, Snicker, right? If you have a craving for sweets, maybe you do a little bit of dark chocolate or something, which satisfies a lot more than you think it does.
It does. Sometimes all you need is just that taste, just that little bit. Just M&Ms.
It's something that's lasting. You know what's wonderful? Baklava. You like baklava?
No, I don't think I've had vodka. Builds us up.
Here. So it's for all those people out there who have cravings, right? You have cravings for something crispy, something salty, something sweet, something from a fried food place you saw. And then you go out and you get it and you say to yourself, this was nowhere near as good as I was hoping it was going to be, but you eat it anyway.
Yeah.
Because you win. But keep in your mind, before you go do that, remember it's never as good as you think it's gonna be, right?
Yeah.
Does it scratch that itch? There's other things that'll scratch that itch,
Absolutely.
right? But if you have one of those moments where you have to go get what's that bowl from KFC where they put mashed potatoes and chicken,
Yeah, the KFC
popcorn chicken or whatever? I mean, that's like fantastic,
Great.
right? I mean, it's fantastic. Some
Right.
corn.
It's all the
If you gotta get one every now and again, well then go get it.
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't hurt yourself. Go get it. And then, deal with it the next day.
It's
Okay.
good choices though.
Yes. Give yourself some grace. No one ever got fat from having one, what's it called?
What?
The KFC thing?
Oh, the KFC bowl.
No one ever got fat from having one KFC bowl, whatever it's called, once every 2 months.
No.
Okay. You get fat because you have one for breakfast and then you have another one for lunch 4 days a week. That's what ends up happening. No one ever got fat from a handful of potato chips. They got fat from having a bag of potato chips. No one ever got fat from a cookie. They got fat from eating a box of cookies, right? Just remember that when you slip up, right? And you say to yourself, oh my God, I slipped up. So forget it. I'm not going to do this anymore.
Right.
No, you slip up. You go back to life the next day, right?
Sure.
The idea between exercise, the idea between nutrition, forget about the weight loss part of it. Think about being healthy.
Yes.
Right? So what happens if you don't eat good, but you throw an apple in it today? Well, you got some good vitamins, you got some good fiber, right? I don't know about you, but I always feel better if I eat an apple daily. It's the strangest thing.
You'd actually eat an apple a day?
I swear to God, I do.
Just keep the doctor in there?
For everything other than what's in my bag. But it's true. I mean, I'm telling you, I know it's
apple a day.
And I eat an apple a day. Typically, sometimes Honeycrisp all day.
Interesting.
Well, what's your favorite apple?
I like a Gala or a Red Delicious.
See, you're not okay. There's nothing better than a Honeycrisp. Let's move on from the apple conversation.
Fine, whatever. We're talking about making choices. How do you mitigate your choices when going out for dinner?
Well, I guess that really depends on how often you go out to dinner. So if you're going out to dinner for every night, either you are a person of wonderful means who's living their best life. And if that's the case, then you got nothing to worry about. But for most of us, we're going out to dinner. I mean, out to dinner, right? So like going out to dinner with you and your husband, like going out as couples for a nice dinner.
Let's say twice a week.
Oh,
let's say twice a week.
No, look at you. I want to live your life. Honestly, God, I want to be you. All right, so let's say you're going out once a week, right? As a date night or as with friends or whatever.
Yes.
You're going out to dinner. Live your life. Who cares? Okay.
Okay.
I mean, am I telling you to eat like the biggest bowl of pasta they have? No, because you're probably not going to get through it. Right? Especially if you're trying to eat healthy, a big bowl of pasta looks great. You take a few bites and you're like, okay, I think I'm done.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is go have dinner.
Okay.
You're out to dinner. So, I mean, are you going to be one of those that's going to go, listen, I'd like the chicken, but I'd like it cooked with no oil. And please take the cheese off it.
Yeah.
And I know this says rice and potatoes, but I'd like the double serving of vegetables. I mean, there's little things you could do, right? Can you take the starch out? Yeah. Sure, you could take the starch out. Can you limit things that are fried? Sure, you can limit things that are fried. But you know what? If you've done really well, remember, I'm not talking about weight loss. That is not my goal in this podcast at any level. Now, if you want to talk about what you're going through during the weight loss, if you want to talk about the emotions you're having, if you want to talk about, hey, I'm stuck, I don't know how I feel, you want to talk about any of that, I'm here for you 100% because I've done it I understand it. I know how to deal with it. But what I essentially want to talk to you about is being a healthy person and living a happy life. And if you're going out to dinner once a week,
Yeah.
be happy. Enjoy what you're doing. I mean, you don't have to overdo it to go out to dinner, right?
Yeah.
I mean, split a dessert, don't get two. I mean, that's an easy thing to do,
That's a choice.
right? Try not to be overserved and finish it all.
Right.
Take it home. Enjoy it for lunch the next day. That's 2 meals.
It's all about choices.
Well, everything.
Well,
Everything in life is about choices.
Mhm.
And, I feel like I almost want to have a separate podcast
Oh.
about making choices because so, I haven't done a Biggest Loser episode yet, and I hope to soon. I have a couple of friends I want to get on there,
Yeah.
and putting them together is like herding cats, honest to God. But these are two of my favorite people, and we're all wonderful together. I want to do it, but when we talk about the trainers on the show, there were two. There were Bob and there was Jillian.
Mhm.
And Jillian was very famous for saying everything's a choice. Okay. And everything is a choice. Whether or not you pick up the fork, whether or not you go to a certain place, whether or not you exercise, everything's a choice. And that's one thing I learned from her. And I actually think about that often when I'm faced with a situation. My thought is, I'm making a choice. And you're not always going to make the right choice. And guess what? It's okay. It's okay. It's not a life or death decision. Unless, of course, you're a diabetic, and that's another conversation
Different
altogether. But,
conversation.
yeah, right. But, but even they have a choice. They have a choice to do it and suffer through it
I was
or,
gonna
or
say,
not do it.
the consequences are different.
Oh, horrible.
Well,
Yeah. But still, it's a choice. It's a choice you should make, but it's still a choice. Yeah.
I get that. But
It's a wonderful topic.
it is a wonderful topic. If you want to have a separate conversation about it, we can. Because I have a follow-up question.
Oh no, by all means.
All right. So do you?
I'm just saying. There's so much I could say about it. I
Right.
couldn't make it a whole other
Right.
podcast.
Let us know what you think.
Okay.
So we make that another conversation. Because my conversation or my thought is then when you look at something and if it does have those guiltless thrill or the smart choices, or do you look at those or you just look for whatever you feel like having on that day? You go to your favorite restaurant.
Okay. You know what? That's a good question.
Yeah.
So if it's my wife and I
Yeah.
going out on a Tuesday
Mhm.
because neither of us feel like cooking or doing anything, and we're going to a small restaurant, casual dining restaurant,
Yes.
and there's a guiltless side, I'll look at the guiltless side
Okay.
because you'd be surprised um, how good those can be sometimes, right? And not only that, but sometimes you just feel better. Not only mentally, not only emotionally, but physically, you feel better because you're not having as much fat. You're not having as much salt. You're not having as much carbs,
Right.
right? Because so much of our bad feelings when you feel unhealthy or you're a bigger person, so much of it has to do with inflammation and water retention, all that. And that has so much to do with your diet,
Sure. Very true.
right? So if you can limit some of those things, but you'd be surprised how good some of those things are, right? Like I don't even get a burger because I get a burger and I just kind of by the way, I'm old, okay. So you get to a certain age. I don't think I'm surprising anybody with this statement, but
Well, it depends on what you think about this. So it's all subjective.
I don't know. What do your kids think of though?
Oh, I'm old. I'm prehistoric.
I have a daughter who's 30 years old. That's all.
Fighting.
So, we're solid Gen Xers. Would
Yeah.
you agree with that? We're solid Gen Xers, which means that we're better than all of them.
Yeah.
That's actually the truth. I don't know. If you guys realize that, or understand that the Gen Xers are the best generation ever. I mean, I don't know what's this greatest generation because we got them kicked.
I wouldn't say that. The bravery, the valor, things they suffer.
We have bravery and valor.
Having to give up on landline phones versus fighting a war and ration. I think they got us. Just saying. Respectfully.
All right. Well, that's fair. I suppose that's fair. What were we talking about?
We're
Going to dinner.
guys guiltless grill or smart choices on menus. If there's a menu that already has some smart choices selected, it sounds like yes, you do consider them.
Oh, absolutely. And I encourage everybody to consider them
Mhm.
because you'd be surprised how good like a chicken breast,
Yeah.
like and broccoli and some of these things can actually be. And for a weeknight dinner, I mean, think about it. If you're going out to dinner on a Tuesday because you don't feel like cooking,
Yeah.
then eat like you would at home.
Right.
Right? It doesn't have to be a massive burger with bacon and cheddar and whatever else. I mean, it could actually just be a decent choice, right? You know, consider the meatloaf. I mean, how bad can it be, right? Now, I'm saying if you're going out like a date night type of thing on the weekend with some friends,
Okay.
or you're going to have some wine or whatever,
Enjoy
you know, okay, yeah, enjoy your life. You know, have a steak. You've earned it, right? Don't get yourself a negative. You've earned it because you don't do that every day.
You do not.
I guess that's what I was saying. And when you do slip up when you're at dinner, don't beat yourself up about it. Just get back on the horse the next day.
Exactly.
You know, I said on my last podcast that I have one tattoo, and that tattoo says "Fall 7 times, stand up 8,"
Oh.
because that's life. In
Oh,
life,
yes.
what do you mean law.
I mean, it's a okay. No, man. I'm just going. It's a lot.
And have you never seen my
I have
tattoo?
not.
Well, I'll be happy to show it to you. Okay, it's on my leg.
Okay.
Yeah, I wonder if I can get the techie people to like put it up on the screen. That would be wonderful. Like, here's Julio's tattoo.
Yes.
It's really, really nice. I actually designed it myself. I don't draw it because I can't draw. Okay. But I designed it, and well, I wanted to do something to pay some kind of homage to my time on the TV show,
Mhm.
but I also didn't want to put anything that was instantly recognizable about the show.
True.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's basically a 0 being squeezed into an 8 with a tape measure.
Okay.
Right?
Squeeze.
Like the logo, like
Right.
it's taking a 0, making it into a very pretty figure 8.
Got it.
And then it says fall 7 times, stand up 8, because that is not only the struggle with weight loss, that is the struggle in life.
I was going to say that applies across the board.
It applies to everything because you are always, I gave you guys the analogy of me and my baseball analogies. I gave you guys the analogy of being a batter standing at the plate, right? Sometimes one comes at your head and you fall to the ground, right? So what are you going to do?
Rush.
See, that's the Puerto Rican. I don't mean to be, I feel like I'm being a little racist and I don't want to do that, but that's the Boricua in her. She just wants to rush the pitcher. Although baseball is the national sport of Cuba.
They have some pretty good
Let's make a point. But you know, what do? You stand back up in the batter's box, right? You stand up again and you take another swing. And that's weight loss, right? You're never going to be perfect. You're never going to be perfect all the time. Every now and again, you're going to get knocked out. Every now and again, you're going to make a bad choice. Every now and again, you're going to do something you probably shouldn't have done. So what do? You just the next day, you start over, right? You start eating better again. And it's really not that big an effect, right? So do you have the difference of 1,000 calories in a deficit? You'll make it up over time.
Sure.
But what weight does that have on your mental health?
What weight does that have on your mental health?
Did you see how I tied that in? I tied that in. Yeah. Yeah. So is that it? Are you done with me? Are you done asking me questions?
No.
Oh,
there's good questions.
Good, because this is wonderful.
This is lovely. I have another question. I was at a restaurant today and the chairs were very small. Is this a common challenge?
You're trying to make me.
I'm not trying to make you cry.
You are. You're trying to make. They're trying to make me cry, but you had other choices, and you decided to ask me that one.
I'm sure violence.
So. Okay. Let me see how I can frame this properly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think now. You know, I'm bigger than the average human. Okay, I'll give myself that. But there's a lot of people like me. Okay, and even if my weight is higher, there's a lot of people that are built differently. Okay, so I've been blessed in a sense where I carry my weight very evenly throughout my body. But there's a lot of people who are bottom heavy. Okay, and things like sitting in a chair are a daily stress for them. So it's not just a restaurant. It could be going anywhere. It could be going to someone's house. It could be going to a barbecue. It could be going to work. Okay. But, you said restaurant. So,
Yeah, this is obvious.
yeah, it's really, I'd be lying if I didn't tell you that I think about that
Wow.
every single time we go somewhere. Now, if it's somewhere we've been, I know what I'm in for.
Okay.
Okay. If it's somewhere we haven't been, the first thing I do when I walk in, and you guys, please comment and tell me if I'm alone in this, because I'm just answering this off the cuff, and this is my answer, and I'd love to know your answers. But the first thing I do is look at the seating situation, and I look to see what kind of chairs they have, because some chairs are just, like banquet chairs, right? Like regular flat, heavy footed chairs that have a nice regular front. And I don't really stress that, but I'm going to take this a little step further than what you said it. I also look at the table size, because if it's just my wife and I,
Mhm.
it's fine. She's on one. We've been married 33 years, so we don't sit next to each other anymore. She sits on one side, I sit on the other,
So, you know,
and every now and again, we look at each other and go, "Hey, okay."
yeah.
But so if it's just that, then I have ample space.
Okay.
But if we're with another couple, then I'm looking at the size of the table and wondering if the width of it
Okay.
is actually going to work,
Okay.
right? And God forbid they're all booths. Because if there's booths, I look to see if the booth table is actually attached to the floor
Mhm.
or if it's actually movable.
Right.
Um, Now, for most of you of normal weight, this is never something you consider. Like, have you ever really gotten a booth and thought, oh, this is tight? Now, if it's tight and you're normal, think of what a nightmare that is for someone like me. So every time we go to a restaurant, the first thing we say is, we'd like a table. Now, so there's chair size,
Mhm.
which is 50-50 when you walk into a place, but I have to say most restaurants are okay. Outdoor seating, that could be its own show.
Really?
Outdoor seating is almost never okay. Almost never okay.
No al fresco dining for you.
I mean, I've done it. Oh, but God forbid they have those like rickety chairs or something. It's just not going to work. That just doesn't work. So we're dealing with the size of the chair, which most of the time is okay. We're dealing with the size of the table, which is less okay than the chairs. You'd be surprised. And I can respect they have to get so many people in the restaurant to make it. I can respect that. I don't get mad at that. And then there's a third thing, which is the distance of the tables from other tables.
Oh,
Because
okay.
sometimes, and this is bigger in like a breakfast restaurant than anywhere else, where the tables where you have the chairs kind of back to back.
Yeah, that's how it's like.
Did you say hella tight? Oh, I thought you just invented a new word for a second. Well, hella tights. Yeah, that I know. I
Oh,
thought
okay.
I thought you meant something else, like an official term about
Oh,
distance between
oh, no,
chairs.
no. When you go to move that complaint, it's sorry.
Well, I mean, there is no complaint. It's like unless you have a 3-year-old in there, no one's sitting in that chair if I'm behind you. You know,
Okay.
Now my wife is barely 5 foot tall. I mean, to say she's 5 foot tall would be lying to you. Right? She's
Just
almost 5 foot
generous.
tall. And she has the same kind of problem when you go into a place and they have like bar seating where they have like the stools.
Ah,
Yeah, because she can't hit the floor, right? So because of this, she hates that so much. Because of this, she kind of gets it for me. Like she gets it. She gets
yeah.
being uncomfortable in a chair. So, which is nice that she understands. But yeah, it's three different things. And I wouldn't be going back to the place if I knew that was a problem, which is a shame because the food can be fantastic, right?
Right, so
Thank, thank God for
tables,
DoorDash.
chairs, tables, and then spacing.
Spacing is
Okay.
a huge deal.
Okay, I didn't think about that one.
It's like eating at a restaurant in Manhattan. You ever eat in a restaurant in Manhattan?
I did not finish that
The
yet.
tables are on top of each other. There must be no heavy people in Manhattan for some reason. It's for that sole purpose. And if you happen to walk into a restaurant that has that kind of space, you're paying more.
Premium. No, don't say that.
You're paying a premium for space.
No, don't say that.
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, so it's just a nicer restaurant, I suppose. It's supposed to be better. Yeah.
But is that a common challenge? Does that help determine or inform where you're going to go out?
I try not to let it.
Okay.
Like I said, most restaurants are accommodating. Okay. We don't live in a society where everybody's tiny. Let's just face it. Um, and it's rare that I walk into a place and I say, I don't fit here. It's
Okay.
rare.
Okay.
Okay.
Make it work.
At least it is for me, and we could usually make it work. It is more common for outdoor seating. And I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's the configuration of the tables, the types of chairs they need either side because they're weatherproof.
Uh,
But outdoor seating is usually a struggle. Indoor seating is not. But so how do you make accommodations, right? So we, and maybe this is because we're older, but we tend to go out earlier. So we rarely get the early when it's special. So we rarely go at a time when the restaurant's really packed.
okay.
Yeah.
Before prime time.
Yeah. Well, at some point we'll talk about what it's like being a big person going to a buffet. that's 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 its own
Another
thing.
show.
That's its own thing.
All right. We did a couple shows.
Yeah.
All right. How can businesses make their locations more accommodating for every sized individual?
Well, when you say businesses,
Mhm.
do you mean what are they trying to ask me? Like
Us,
just
us,
restaurants or just businesses?
same businesses.
Well,
I mean, you could say restaurants, and then you could say other things like maybe stores.
Well, the only thing that really affects you is a place where you have to actually make space for yourself, which is a place where you sit,
Okay.
right? So a restaurant would fall under that category.
Mhm.
Um, it's you'd be surprised how uncomfortable like hospital or doctor waiting rooms are. I know that sounds silly,
No, that
but yeah, did you ever walk into a hospital waiting room or a doctor's office waiting room and they have regular chair, regular chair, regular chair, and then that big chair, like what's your assumption when you see that big chair?
that's either for a larger person or
For two people.
or not as gonna say like an adult and a kid, or an adult that's gotta hold up
I
for
think you're
adults.
being kind. You look at it as a love seat, right?
I wasn't thinking not in the doctor's office, I'm not thinking love seat.
Yeah. So you know what's super annoying
Oh,
is
here.
when you go and there's one like larger seat situation and some skinny person sitting
I
there.
mean, like,
I it's like, or like the mom sitting there and the kid sitting in the love seat. And I'm just like, you guys are being oblivious as to what this is here for. And now I walked in and it's like, just look at me. But you know what would be worse if she looked at me and said, all right, can you get out of there so he could sit there?
what if they were stuck this way? You're complaining that we're in there, but then if they adjusted,
Well, isn't that why I'm having this podcast stuff?
yeah,
Because the thing is, we don't talk about it,
awareness
right?
really
We
matters.
don't want anybody, and this is the truth. We don't want anybody to acknowledge that we're large, right? Like we don't want anybody to, when we walk in a restaurant, look at us and say, "Sir, don't worry about it. We have a table for you. We got something in the corner. We got chairs with no arms, with a wider table. We're set up for you. We'd like you to come on in. And by the way, here's your special menu."
Okay, so we
Like
don't want
you don't want to be acknowledged, right? So when you say like if somebody said, "Okay, can you get out of there so he could sit down?" In a way, we're like, "Yeah, that'd be wonderful." But at the same time, we're like, "I don't want to be acknowledged." So what do? We squeeze our ass into the uncomfortable little.
and then yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying. I see
Yeah.
both sides of it.
But this
But
is
this is
why I'm doing this podcast because we just don't talk about it. And I guess what I'm saying is, we should talk about it.
yeah.
Uh, People like me should be able to share their feelings, share their ideas, talk about it with their family, right? People, when we walk into a room, acknowledge that maybe we're just not lazy and whatever other feelings that you might have about us, and realize that we have certain restrictions. I mean, if somebody came in and they came in on crutches or a wheelchair, you'd make accommodations, right?
Yeah.
We deserve a little bit of love. We deserve accommodations, right? We deserve to be comfortable. It's there's a lot of reasons why we are who we are. There's a lot of reasons why maybe we're not thin. Okay. And I'm saying understand that we all come from different places and we all have different situations. And it's not just because you couldn't choose to put down the cheeseburger.
Now, which rolls directly into the next question.
Well, that's amazing.
That was amazing. Nice segue. You didn't even know.
I didn't.
How do you deal with the look? I don't know.
So,
I need to get another
we,
crack comment.
we got,
Just reading what's on here.
so, we got a lot of comments and a lot of questions and things from people. And I had a vet and my daughters kind of go through them and pick which ones. And maybe I shouldn't have included my daughters because I think they know me well.
Oh, okay.
So, okay. I'm different. And I'm going to say I'm different because I am a proud Latino from Chicago. And I got a little sass to me, right? And I got a little spunk. And, unlike a lot of people who are larger, I don't really shy away from things. So maybe I handle this differently than most, but I'm still going to speak about it generally. Now, I will tell you an interesting story.
Okay.
We were getting on a plane one day and we were flying coach. Another conversation subject. Other show. Travel is a category, right?
Okay.
So, and we're walking down the aisle and my wife's walking behind me and I said, do me a favor. Watch people's faces as I walk down the aisle. I want to see what they say. So we come down, we sit in our chairs and I looked at her and I said, what was it like? She goes, it wasn't the women.
Interesting.
She goes, it was the guys. And I believe I understood that a little bit.
The guys who had a reaction?
Yeah. And here's why
Or a poor reaction.
the guys that a reaction. And their reaction is the faces that they were getting were not, oh, look at this guy. Their faces were, please don't sit next to me. That's what the face was. Now, most women are, smaller shouldered, right? Maybe smaller in frame.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not as uncomfortable as most grown men in a coach seat on an airplane. So to have another grown man sit next to him is bad enough. To have a guy my size just destroys the entire flight for him. So that's where that came from. So how do I?
Men had.
Well, it's funny. When I walk into a room, I always get a look, but I can never tell if it's because of my size or my ridiculously good looks.
It's a toss-up.
It could go either way, right? So generally, I just think it's because of my good looks that I ignore it, right? I've gotten it my whole life.
I'll say you've gotten used to it.
Yeah, at this point, you're like, yeah, I get it. I sparkle, But the look, for all of you out there who think you give that look and no one notices, you're wrong. Because you notice, okay? You notice, you see it. And what I do almost 100% of the time is probably no different than what everyone else does, which is we completely ignore it and just wish it didn't happen in the first place and then feel really, really bad about ourselves. Rarely do we think, oh, look at this awful person. No, to all those people giving the looks, I don't know if it's your intention, but you just really make us feel bad about ourselves. You can argue whether or not that's deserved or not. I don't think it is. But it invokes some really sad feelings, right? Because you're looking at somebody like they're lesser than at that point. And then personally, what I do, my personality has developed in direct contradiction to that look. right? So now I feel like I have to win that person over in some level. So my personality has to be bigger than my size.
Okay.
My kindness has to be greater than my size. So, everyone's got a lot of big people with a lot of big personalities, and you wonder, wow, where's that big personality come from? It's because our personality has to be bigger than our size in order for people to stop looking at our size and start looking at our personality.
And you want to see people see their heart, not their body necessarily.
Well, we just want them to see us.
Yeah.
We don't want them to see big.
Right.
We want them to see us.
Right. Your character.
Because if I wasn't big,
Right.
what would be the first thing you'd notice? Right? But it's like walking into a situation with a handicap. You walk into a room, you're big. Okay, so you're obviously lazier, you're obviously slower, you're probably not as smart. All these things happen. And, we somehow have to prove to others that we're something other than our size, right?
You think there's a connection, or you think people have a connection between smart and science?
I think anything that is outside of normal,
Huh.
people tend to think less of that, right? It's casual discrimination. We'll call it.
Casual
It's
casual.
casual. It's we're gonna start our phrase, right? I,
Casual
I heard a
discrimination.
I heard a comedian talk once about casual racism, right?
Huh.
You walk into a pizza place called like Three Brothers Pizza, and it's three Japanese guys. You'd be like, huh, right? That's right. It's casual. It's casual discrimination. Yeah. I mean, no one's going to look at me and say, okay, we need the fastest runner. Let's try Julio first. No one's going to think that, but they don't know.
They don't know.
They don't know until they put shoes on, right? But it's casual discrimination. That might be controversial. I hope it's not, but it's, but that's kind of like what it feels like. Hey, give big people a chance.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Okay. So the look is something you've dealt with before.
Yeah.
Has it changed over time? I mean, how do you respond to the look? You at 15 versus you now.
Oh boy. So all right, let's reframe this a little bit.
Okay.
So when I was 15, I wasn't this size.
Yeah, I mean, this.
But
You said you wait.
it's valid because being a teenager, it's a different world.
Yeah.
Um,
As a teen, you just want to be so accepted and so vanilla like everybody else. You don't want to stand out.
well, I also had a very fit, good-looking group of guys that I hung out with. So even though I wasn't this size, I was still the heaviest,
Okay.
right? And always felt a little bit behind the eight ball as far as that's concerned. But that was the '80s, so we didn't have social media, so I had that on my side, right? But it's an interesting question
Okay.
because, well, here I'll get a little deep.
All right.
I am who I am today because of overcoming those issues. So what I have done personally, so I'm not going to speak on a level of what I think everyone else should do, what everyone was going through. So right now I'm going to give you just my personal take on what I've done for this. So I have molded myself to be a certain person so that when I walk in a room, people are staring at me, not because of my size, but because of my presence, because of the way I'm dressed, because of my attitude, because of the way I speak. So I have gone out of my way to be other than my size.
Okay.
So, when I joke with you,
Yeah.
right, where I walk in a room, I don't know if they're looking at my size or my looks,
Right.
right? And I've almost molded myself into being that person. And what makes this hard is I've been both. So you've seen me.
Yeah.
You saw me that's when we met, when we
Yeah.
first came off the show, right? She wouldn't stop messaging me. It was the weirdest thing. That's not true, by the way. To anyone that's listening, that's not true. We actually met. We were doing a bowling league.
Oh,
Yeah, there was another couple that got us involved in the bowling league, and Ivette was part of the bowling league. So that's how we met. But when I was, and here's something ironic, when I was thinner, I'm never going to say small because I was never small. But when I was thinner, um, I, I didn't know who I was.
huh.
Like I didn't recognize myself in a mirror. I didn't have,
Oh,
and
when you
I,
changed, when you made the change initially.
yeah, I didn't because it happened so rapidly too. It's like I didn't know how to react to like when people would look at me, I didn't know what they were looking at.
You didn't know what they saw? You didn't know what they were
I didn't
looking
know
at?
what they saw. I didn't know what their feelings were, right?
Huh.
Um,
Just,
yeah, well, that's a tough thing that people deal with. They lose weight, and all of a sudden they lose who they've been most of their life, and they lose their identity a little bit. Again, that's a whole nother.
yeah, I'm like, oh, it comes deep.
No, that's deeper than I think I wanted to go.
No worries.
But I developed this personality and this presence, right? I built myself to the point now where people have no choice but to ignore it. And then you'll still get this guy that walks up to you and say, "Hey, big guy."
Yeah.
And guys, we don't like that. It's like going up to a tall guy and saying, "Hey, stretch." Yeah, he knows he's tall.
What's the weather like up there?
He knows he's tall. Leave him alone. I know I'm a big guy. You don't have to call me a big guy. Or did you just forget my name? Which I don't believe. Yeah. I don't have the kind of name people forget.
Unless they do. Or, you know, um, what does the phrase, just put down the fork, how does that impact you when you hear it?
Oh, just put down
Just put down the fork.
the fork.
Well, the entire
So,
section says,
okay.
just put down the fork was
So,
trending as a solution for obesity a while ago. How does that impact you when you hear it?
well, I mean, if just put down the fork was the solution, then we'd all do it,
Yeah, yeah,
right? But there's a larger problem with that. You still have to eat.
correct.
So what are they saying? Only eat stuff you can use with a spoon? I mean, that doesn't make any sense. Okay, so basically, what does put down the fork mean to me?
Correct.
It says you eat too much, eat less, and all your problems are solved. Okay. I wish it was that easy. I wish there was an ability to just say, okay, let's stop eating that, and all of our problems are solved. It also, when someone says put down the fork, let's look at it at a broader sense. It's just basically saying the only problem is you're too lazy to fix this problem. And it also says you're choosing not to fix this problem because picking up the fork is a choice, right?
Well,
When
but you
you,
gotta eat.
well, that's the problem.
Paradox.
That's the problem. Eating still has to happen regardless. And I'll give you one better. Eating becomes more difficult. Like you would think, okay, just eat less,
Mhm.
right? But eating less isn't just you eat half the portion. Because let's say I went to the Biggest Loser and I said, okay, great, guys, here's my diet plan. Forget what you guys have for me here. This is what I normally eat today. We're just going to cut that in half and then we're going to do that. And they're going to say, no, Julio, that doesn't work. I said, okay, well, let's cut it by a quarter and let's do that. No, Julio, that doesn't work. Well, why doesn't it work? Because you're telling me to just eat less. Well, no, you have to eat different things. Well, what different things do I have to eat? Can I no longer eat beef? No, sure, you can eat beef. Then what's the problem? Well, but you only can eat this much beef and you have to cook it in this way. Okay, so I can no longer have chicken. No, 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 we encourage you to have chicken.
Mhm.
Well, what's wrong? But so you can only eat this much of the chicken and you have to cook it in this way. Okay. All right. So instead of having a cup of rice, I should have a quarter cup. No, no, we're going to cut that all together. So I shouldn't have any rice. No, you can have some rice, but you got to have brown rice. Okay. Do I put that the same? No, that's much more involved than doing it this way. Okay. So then what can I substitute for all these things? Well, here are all these vegetables. Okay, but I can't eat that raw. No, no, no. What you got to do is you got to go through this process where you got to prep it, you got to roast it a certain way, and then you got to put it in this container. But you can't have all of it. You can only have 5 ounces. Well, what does 5 ounces look like? Well, here's a scale. So what you got to do then is you got to cook it. Then you got to put it on the scale because the cook weight's different than the raw weight.
True.
Oh, okay. So how much chicken can I have? You're gonna have this much chicken. And how much sweet potato can I have? You're gonna have this much sweet potato. And how much of an apple can I have? Well, how big's the apple?
Mm. What kind of
And now I just spent 4 hours prepping the shittiest meal you ever ate in your life that you go and eat. And by the way, you're not eating it then, right? Because you just packed it to take it to work. So all this beautiful stuff, and then you stick it in the microwave and it all just goes away, you know. So put down the fork. Yeah, put down the fork. Pick up a scale, pick up some mixing bowls, pick up some roasting materials. By the way, go to the grocery store 4 times a week because everything you're buying is perishable.
true?
Right? Pick up the fork and do a whole lot more work than just putting the fork down.
True.
Saying put okay, now I'm getting mad. Saying putting down the fork is about the laziest thing that anyone can say. It's much more difficult than that. And we haven't even touched on the emotional aspect of what you're going through. We haven't even touched on the emotional aspect of losing weight because that is a whole nother realm. That's the part that nobody gets right. We wouldn't be here if there wasn't a reason why you were eating the way we did. We wouldn't be here if there wasn't a need to fill a void in a way that was necessary. We wouldn't be here. So until we attack that, I hear endlessly online people arguing over the weight loss drugs, right? The biggest insult is about these weight loss drugs is people say it's an easy way out. Well, who cares that it's an easy way out? What's wrong with an easy way out? We're not robbing somebody to do this, right?
Right.
If there was a shot you could take that cured alcoholism or drug addiction or gambling addiction, why wouldn't you want to take it?
Right.
Right. But even that takes effort and time. Even that's not easy.
Well, even, I mean, getting back between the food prep and the cooking and the shopping and the chopping and the prep versus fast food. Fast food isn't what it is because it's so delicious. It's fast food because it's fast, it's quick, it's convenient. So I think it's a balance. It's a whole lot more work.
Oh, and it's cheap.
Relatively, yeah. It is
Yeah,
true.
fast food is cheaper than going. Everyone says, well, you save a bunch of money if you didn't go out to eat. Well, going out to eat is one thing. That's expensive. Fast food, relatively speaking, is cheap.
Sure.
Right? You could eat for $10 at any fast food restaurant. None of it, by the way, you probably should eat, but you can eat easily at a fast food restaurant. Certainly cheaper when you think of the time and effort it takes to make stuff at home and prep things at home. Because anybody out there has been on a diet, anybody, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're a bodybuilder. I don't care if you're a heavy person trying to lose weight. I don't care if you have dietary restrictions that cause you to eat a certain way. The biggest nemesis of your life is food prep. Fine example. What's the biggest thing on the internet right now? Meal prep companies that do it for you.
True. I thought you were going to say the little containers. So everyone's supposed to cook all day Sunday, then do all your little containers for the week. But yeah, the food prep companies too.
In order to do that effectively, you almost have to hate food, right? Like if you're good eating ground turkey for 5 meals in a week, then food prep is easy. If you're good just having sweet potato and brown rice for 5 different meals, then it's easy to meal prep.
That's true.
But and the other thing that's really tough about being on a diet is that everyone wants a diet to be exactly what it's like being not on the diet, right? They have all these foods that just they sell chocolate chip cookies that are diet food, right?
Right.
But they taste just like regular chocolate chip cookies. Well, just don't eat the cookie at that point, right? Find something else to eat.
Right.
Why would you eat something that tastes like honey?
Yeah, break that back.
All right, now I'm getting off the topic. All right, I know.
You're all roused up.
Okay, tell me that's it because I'm stressing.
That's it. That's it for today.
So, we tried a little experiment today, okay? And we tried to just get me to react to certain topics live. I didn't want to think too much about it. I want to just react to them. And I think I did
You did.
react to
Well,
quite
you
a few.
admitted what you were feeling. You admitted, sorry, that's my phone. You admitted what you were feeling. You were admitting, in real time that this makes me sad or this makes me happy.
Well, and this
Before.
this brings me straight to why I'm doing this podcast.
True.
Okay. Because it all these podcasts about weight loss and about exercise and about health, they're all telling you what you should do. They're all telling you what you should be. They're all telling you what they think is going to make you happy. But none of them are talking to you as the person who's currently, because it doesn't happen overnight, right? I mean, you don't all of a sudden decide tomorrow to start going on a health journey and then you wake up the next day and you're that person. And unfortunately, the only measurement you have to how well you're doing on that health journey, it on a daily basis is going to be the scale, and the scale doesn't always reflect your effort. So nobody, and really, as far as the health, you're going to do that at your doctor's office. And how often do you see your doctor? I mean, if you're really pushing it, it's twice a year,
Right.
right? And then you get there, and then your numbers are great. You're like, wonderful, but your weight hasn't dropped off that much. So decide what's the journey. Is the journey that you want to fit into a certain pair of pants and you want to look a certain way in a suit? Well, guess what? They make suits that'll fit you regardless. Okay. The journey is to be happy, is to be healthy. Okay. And how do you do that? You make good choices. You don't have to make good choices every minute of every day. If we all did that, who would we be?
A lot better than we are now. Oh, sorry.
But it's not an easy thing to do. But you
No,
make the choices every day. Everybody slips up. You get back up and you get back on the podium and you keep moving forward. I
that's
mean,
all you can do.
that's all you can do. Um, but the idea is to be healthy. The idea is to be happy. Okay. Make good choices, as many as you can. Okay. But in the meantime, we should talk to each other, right? Comment, ask me questions, send me emails. I'll talk about them on here. I'm better sometimes at verbalizing things than other people are. I'll try to verbalize the way I feel and the way I think you feel, as much as possible. Okay. Well, I don't have a good baseball analogy for today, so we'll leave that to the next episode because I don't have one that ties in. And it's playoff season, which
It
is
is the World Series.
the best time of year.
I will
Um,
say, okay, I got one.
oh, go ahead.
Okay, so think about people in the Hall of Fame. People in the Hall of Fame, if they bat 250, which means that they got a hit one time out of every four plate appearances, which means they didn't get a hit three times out of four. And somehow they're the best out there. When was the last time you heard about somebody batting 300? 250 is supposed to be amazing.
Well, 300 is like greatest all time,
Exactly.
right? So that means there's 70% failure rate for the best of all time.
Exactly. So that's
But
my encouragement.
but that's life. You look at social media now, and everything looks so perfect, right? It's a perfect picture. It's a perfect family. Yeah, it's a perfect job, right? But that's not real life. In real life, we fail all the time. I tell my guys at work all the time, you learn when you fail. You rarely learn from your successes because you're never quite sure what you did wrong to get there. Like everything fell in line.
Right.
But when you fail, you know exactly why you fail and you learn. So you have to fail before you succeed. You got to strike out a bunch of times before all of a sudden you start putting the barrel on the ball.
Right.
Right.
The important thing is get up to bat.
1,000%. You could not have said that better. You couldn't have said that better if it was me saying it. You're the best. So, uh, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget, continue sending stuff in. Continue sending in your comments, your questions. Uh, Tell me stories of things that have happened, and we'll discuss them on here. You can do that on Spotify. You can do that on Instagram. You can do that on YouTube. You could do it to my personal email. You could do it on Facebook. Big Man Take College Podcast. Thank you very much for listening, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great day.